Hello, this is Marshally, and welcome to my garden diary. So, this is my baby's breath plant here. So, it has started blooming, and I'll try and go in because this thing is full of insects. Look at that. Yeah, as you can see, this is a plant that has many small blooms. You can actually hardly see the leaves that are on this because of how many blooms it has. So it's quite airy and it's whimsical. Lots of white blooms. And this plant is ideal for a dry garden. So if your garden is quite dry, then this is a good plant to have. Uh, it's from a tuber. So when the tuber is well established, then you don't really have to worry about this plant. I don't worry about watering, or the only thing I worry about, or I have to be careful, is that because it can spread, it means that it has such a wide range or spray, then I have to be careful that I give it some support. So here I have supported this side because it was just falling over, and I needed the space that branch there, or the stem was taken up, and so I just supported that there. But apart from that, if you have space and you're not worried about space, you can just leave it to spread out or spray out and fill up the space in the garden wherever you want space to be filled. So it's this one, I have 3 in my garden, and this one is in full sun, and maybe that's why it's the one that started blooming first, because it's in no shade. Yeah, uh, it's in the full sun and it really enjoys that. So it starts blooming around this time in July, and then it will continue blooming for a while, and then I will it will die back in autumn to winter. But I don't, it will get brown like the alliums. That something like that will happen to it. It will get that kind of color. So I don't cut it back. I just let it die back, and when it has died back, the branches or the stems will separate themselves from the tuber. And then when they have done that, then I'll collect the stems and then dispose of those. So I really don't do anything to this plant except to support it if it needs supporting, and then wait for it to die back in winter. So the reason why it's so hardy is because the roots, as I said before, goes quite deep, and if the roots are well established, this one here is has been here about 3-4 years. So I don't have to worry about this. It will just die back and come back every year. So the blooms will be spent by October or September. To be honest, I'm not sure, but I'm not sure exactly when it stops blooming because of how it blooms. Because all these little white flowers, I mean, how do you notice when it stops blooming? Um, but if it gets to the point where it seems that it's not blooming anymore, you could cut it back and then it might rebloom. Yeah. So this one is about 90 centimeters tall, or 3 feet, and just as wide. So it does take up quite a bit of space here. Let me see if I can go in and see. Right, so what it looks like underneath. So all right, so yeah, that is what it will look like. That's where, not sure if this is coming across, but yeah, that's where everything comes from. And these are, the baby's breath is used a lot for as flowers or in flowers decoration, because it goes well, if you can imagine, going well with some roses over there. Yeah, but yeah, I don't really do cut plants from my garden. I just let everything stay unless I'm deadheading stuff. So I'll show you from another perspective here. And as you can see, right beside it over there, I have some lavendel. And I actually like the way the purple and the white goes together. So it looks quite good there. Yeah, so as you can see, it's quite a large plant. So if you have the space for this, then I would highly recommend it. And the only reason why I supported it is because that part there was hanging down too much, and I know that it was in the way of where I usually walk to go to the back of the garden, and it would have broken off. So if you have a lot of wind where you are, then you have to just make sure that you support it, because it will break. The stems will break off if it's not supported. But where I have another one over here, and this is in a area that gets a little bit more shade, so it's not fully open yet. But this one I don't need to support at all because it's just tucked right in there. So it's just cozy and comfortable. And that one, I don't need to do anything with it or to it or to support it. So the area where that one is in, as you can see, it's taken up quite a bit of space. And where it is around the roots or around the tuber where it's planted, I have lots of daffodils and hyacinth there. So in spring, the area is not totally empty. The area is full with spring bulbs. So as the spring bulbs die back, then the baby's breath comes out. So the space there is not wasted. It's just the plants that are planted there are planted intentionally to bloom in a staffeled way. So when one plant has stopped blooming or stopped growing, like the daffodils and hyacinths, then the baby's breath is just coming up, and then by this time, then it has enough space to spread its wings. Right, so yeah, I actually like the way the lavendel is, the color right there beside it. I am thinking of maybe planting another lavendel there because I have quite a bit of lavendel seedlings that are in the garden that planted themselves out and from seeds. And so I can actually plant maybe another lavendel there, right in that area there in the autumn. But I'll think about that because sometimes I forget where the where the bulbs are, and it might be that there are some bulbs right beside that lavendel. I know for sure that there are bulbs in between the lavendel because those also have just started blooming, and I have bulbs between them so that in spring the area here is actually has lots of color from daffodils and hyacinth. So good if I'm planting it and I find bulbs, I can just plant them somewhere else or do something else. Okay, so if you have the space and if you have a dry garden and if you like this kind of blooms, lots of very small blooms, that's a little bit whimsical, a little bit airy, then this might be a plant that you would like to have in your garden. Okay. This definitely, it doesn't like lots of watering, so don't put a watering system like directly on the where the stems come from or anything like that. They don't like that, so just be careful with that with your watering. Okay, so that is going to be it for this video. I hope you are enjoying your garden, and if you don't have a garden, then I'm more than happy to share mine with you. Goodbye, and I'll see you in the next video.